distinguished all semioticians and friends gathered in this hall. This is certainly a historic moment, and it is wonderful to be here and feel this, since indeed it started all about 40 years ago, as Professor Eero Tarasti said, from Coruña. I mean institutionalization of semiotic intellectual movement in the global sense. We have full reason to be proud now, since we have been able to maintain the tradition of the IASS World Congresses as an unbroken chain of events, even every 4 or 5 years. So these have been something like Olympiads of semiotics, although we do not compete here for anything, except for the eagerness and enthusiasm we all want to contribute to the future of our science. Milano, Vienna, Palermo, Barcelona, Perpignan, Berkeley, Guadalajara, Dresden, Lyon, and Helsinki, Imatra, and now La Coruña. This is the third time we convene in the Hispanic world, and this is certainly a significant fact showing the importance of semiotics in this cultural sphere. The theme of this convention is challenging and provocative in many senses. Communication of culture, culture of communication. And I'm sure everyone in this hall will have his or her own interpretation of the title. For me, the first part, communication of culture, has definitely an aspect of a transfer of cultural heritage. It's education, whatsoever this culture can be. Every culture in the world has to ask from itself whether it is able to maintain and communicate its basic values, texts, behaviors to new generations and to those who do not yet belong to this culture. Nevertheless, the latter part of the title develops our contemporaneity, the present time of communication with its radical new forms and means to globalize the world into one web community. In both senses, we have full reason to think these aspects concern also semiotics itself. Semiotics has become a culture. It is a scientific culture which tries to expand its beliefs and achievements to other areas, perhaps not yet touched by this new culture. But it is also worried how it is communicated to future generations. Let me just shortly quote Yuri Lotman, who certainly has said much further about culture. In his famous thesis on the semiotic study of culture, he argued that culture and non-culture appear as spheres which are mutually conditioned and which need each other. He said that the culture is expanding all the time, externally, but also internally. So when all the geographical fields have been discovered by culture, then it goes to inside man's mind, and so emerged psychoanalysis. But I would say that this holds true also for semiotics. The whole world has been now conquered by semiotics. There are no longer any 4 fields for us. It is everywhere. Every Latin American country has semiotics. Most of the African and in the East, new countries are entering, such as Vietnam, Kazakhstan, and Iran. Not to speak of its expansion in China, Korea, Japan, which of course already exists for a long time. In this sense, insofar as the IASS congresses reflect these facts, of 10 congresses, it has convened only twice outside the Europe. But I would not wonder if these meetings will take place in future more often outside the Europe. But in the side of this external aspect, we have the internal one. It means we are confronted by questions how semiotics itself is changing in various new cultural contexts. Which semiotics we are talking about? Whose semiotics? Has semiotics been able to fulfill this other inner dimension mentioned by Lotman? My strong opinion is that semiotics has by these 40 years lost nothing of its theoretical acuteness, sharpness and power as an approach to understand the essence of the world in which we live. Semiotics has survived since it has always been able to adapt itself to new situations and challenges, which they are right now. That is the task of the World Congress to elucidate by its speeches. 2 years ago, many of us meet in IASS 9 in Helsinki and Imatra, with Finland and the honored host. To refresh our memory of what happened then, I'm glad to point out that there are now a 3-volume anthology of papers. Proceedings of this Congress have just appeared, and some of you have received, but I took this in my heavy luggage. So here are the 3 volumes. Proceedings from Helsinki have appeared as a book. And they are in the book exhibition if you want to order this. And I'm sure La Coruña will have the same. I'm sure. Now we have a small reason on behalf of the IASS to present our most heartfelt thanks to the local organizers of this important and historic meeting, and particularly to the President of the Congress, Professor José María Pascal. I had the joy to meet him for the first time 20 years ago, symptomatically not far away from here, in Porto, where Thomas Silio and Norma Tasca organized a symposium about the future of database in semiotics. I then met a young man who was, for me, coming from the north, looked very Spanish indeed. And here we are. The Semiotian heritage of global semiotics continues in the old Europe. Now, 1,000 thanks for this initiative and for all the enormous work which organizing World Congress means. Those who have done it know it. So they are, like the British scholar John Ruskin said, there are ideas of power. Only the ones who have done it can measure it. So. I'm a music man, I'm a musician. And it came to my mind that what only is missing is a national anthem of semioticians of the world. Maybe commissioned by a composer like the Canadian, my colleague David Leadoff, who already wrote a canon on semi-hemi-demiosis. Semi-hemi-demi-semiotics for music. We might have something for us to be sung maybe together occasionally. Now, thanks go also to all the colleagues of José María and all the background institutions here in Galicia for their very generous support. And now I conclude. Once Thomas A. Silio asked in Imatra what is semiotics, and he said, it studies the relation between illusion and reality. Maybe here in the country of Don Quixote and Cervantes, Salvador Dali and Gaudi and Albéniz, people know best what this means. Semiotics is our illusion, utopia idea, which I think has now become a reality. Thank you.